Bringing level 2 charging to multi-family dwellings is a challenge. Places where there's no garage, anything like that. Pando Electric has solutions. We've met with them before, but we're back here in the Bay Area to learn about some new amazing stuff that they have to offer.
I'm really excited. I'm Patrick.
I'm Liv.
We're the Electric Duo. We're going to learn about Pando Electric coming up.
Let's go.
Well, I'm really excited. Last year, we visited a Pando Electric install in Palo Alto and met Joseph for the first time. We're back in the Bay Area, but at one of their main manufacturing facilities.
Yeah, it's a contract manufacturer right here in San Jose, California.
That's awesome. But the reason why we're back and not at an actual location is because you guys have some new stuff that's super exciting.
And super secret.
Super secret, yes.
You guys are getting a first look.
Yeah, this is being basically revealed today. So we're really excited to learn about that. But first of all, let's just, get everybody up to date. Pando Electric is solving one of the biggest, if not the biggest, hurdles for EV adoption in the US. And what is that?
Yeah, absolutely. Like what we do is focus on multifamily housing specifically. We know that there's about 30 million Americans out there who are being denied access to really one of the best components of having an electric vehicle, which is charging at home. So imagine if you have even a charging station across the street, it's still a lot of a hassle to drive over there and charge up. It's much better to just come home, plug in, and go about your day.
Yeah, I say often, like one of the biggest benefits to having an EV is that we can charge in our garage. And I know that that's a privilege. That's like not everybody has access to doing that. And it's sort of like when people say like, I can't charge at home, I'm like, we really need to talk about this before you buy an EV. But this is going to make it way better for a lot of people. Or
absolutely.
Your first installs. Let's first of all talk about that. So that site that we visited last year in Palo Alto, I hear it's doing well.
Doing very well. Yeah, so we started out with 4 drivers when we first installed. It's about a year later. We have officially doubled that number. There are now 4 more, so a total of 8 drivers are driving EV now. And the 4 people who got EVs all told us the same thing. I bought it because I knew that I had a dedicated charger in my space, and it made it a simple decision.
And the key there was basically not saying like, we're going to go into this place, there's like 96 spots, we're going to put in chargers at 6,
right? And
then everybody else has to fight for them.
Yeah, no, we wanted to make sure that every single space was covered in that parking garage. And so we installed 92 chargers for that property. So every single unit has a charging station in it. Even though there's some people there who drive, big Dodge diesel trucks, they even agreed because they saw the value of putting in an electric vehicle charging station in their space.
Because it increases
the value,
the property value, and just the perception of the place, I think, as well.
It makes it attractive rental property as well, because now you've opened up the market to even more people who might not want to live in a place that doesn't have EV charging.
Yeah. Well, of course, the first reaction is because like we've sort of talked about that to other people and sort of, oh, you should hear about Pando Electric. And their first reaction is like, oh, wow, that must be super expensive. But that's the other key.
Yeah, that is.
I sound like I'm pitching you guys, but I'm like,
you're doing a great job.
This is really amazing stuff. I think it's amazing that you guys are doing this and you've addressed the cost issue.
Absolutely. Like we wanted to make sure that this was affordable for everybody. So not just property owners, but the EV drivers as well. So our outlets retail for $699 now. That's our new device. Our old device is going to be discontinued, but that's at $599. And really what we wanted to do is make it so it's ultra affordable. And then on top of that, we'll save you about 50 to 70% on the installation costs. And that's really where a lot of the costs come from when you're talking about putting in EV charging. And we're able to do that through our adaptive load management and one of the new products that we're going to show you in a little bit later.
Yeah, I'm excited about that stuff. So we can even go ahead and dive into that because it looks like what we saw last year, but it's completely different. And you have some other stuff, you have some illustrations.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's go ahead and dive in.
Yeah, so this guy here is our Pando Gen 2 smart outlet. The first thing that we did was we integrated into Apple Wallet.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, so you can use Apple Wallet, Google Wallet is coming very soon. You can also use your watch, a key fob. We're also going on to universities so that the staff can use their Access ID cards to tap and charge as well. So that's the first simplification point that we really wanted to make. The next thing that we did was we wanted to make the connectivity stack completely independent. So we are introducing something that we call the Pando Canopy. So now these have a built-in dual channel wireless mesh network in it. Really all that means is that each one of these chargers can act as its own router. They sync up with each other, and then they form a local mesh network. If for whatever reason, if the Wi-Fi should fail, all of these chargers will just continue to operate as normal until the Wi-Fi comes back.
Oh, that's cool. So it's like, if there's any type of like connection issues, you don't have to worry about like I couldn't charge tonight because no Wi-Fi. You just, from the end user, view, they just tap, everything looks normal, and then on the back end, when you get connection, it's resyncs everything. Yeah,
and then the other big thing about that is we also know that there's going to be spots in any kind of garage that have absolutely, there's just no way you're going to get service down there. Like we've been in some garages that are like 5 stories underground. And instead of having to like figure out a way to get some kind of internet access down there, we've introduced something we call relay mode. And that basically just uses your phone like a relay baton. So once you sync the phone up, the information is encrypted and passed to the phone. And once your phone gets back up into cell service range, it'll transmit that data to our cloud. So these can operate completely offline in that mode. So we're really trying to solve for a lot of these like edge cases that are causing people problems here and there. So we're really talking about something to just make it ultra simple.
So now you talked about the mesh, and one thing that I'm thinking about too is like, if you have 30 of these or whatever in a basement or wherever, as long as you have connectivity to like the first one,
that's correct.
That's the mesh that can take place, that it can connect to the others.
I'm glad you brought that up actually, because the really cool thing is like, let's say that device fails, right? Or someone is a horrible person and comes and bashes it with a hammer and it's gone. The mesh network will then reform automatically, so it's self-healing. So then it just finds the next one that has the next best signal, reforms the mesh, and it happens like all within an instant. So even if that device is completely gone, it'll reform and everybody else will be able to continue to charge.
That's very cool. It's a lot of, it sounds like a lot of stuff that's taking place in smart home technology.
Yes.
Where, if you remove a light bulb that was smart, the mesh just sort of adapts and you're still good to go. So that's really, really cool. And it's, again, it sort of sounds like you guys had like a checkbox of like, here are all the obstacles. Let's see if we can check them off. And another one, and this is something I think is really cool here, because a lot of people were saying like, because this is just the outlet.
That's correct.
Maybe the condo complex wants to provide chargers, maybe not. A lot of it's going to be like me providing my charger, but then it's like, do I want to like pull it in and out of the car every time, or do I want to leave it? And now you guys have a solution for that.
Yes.
A simple solution too.
Yeah, it's crazy that nobody else thought of this. So we're actually introducing the world's first modular charging system. So this is still the Pando Gen 2 outlet, has all the benefits and features that I just discussed, except we have a locking cover on here. So for that same scenario, we were getting some people saying like, hey, it's kind of a bit cumbersome to go into my frunk, get the cable out, plug it into the car, and then keep doing that every 3 or 4 days or however often I'm charging. And so we're like, why don't we just put our weather cover on and lock it, and then we'll just leave it like this. And if anybody needs to swap out the cable for whatever reason, you just unlock it, open it up, pop out the cable, and then swap in the new one. And the really cool thing there is that it can help, like this is a J7072.
Yep.
If you have a Tesla, oh, well, I can just swap that out really quick. The cool thing there is that if this cable breaks or, God forbid, someone vandalizes it, you're switching cables out in a matter of seconds. Whereas today, when they're hardwired, it's a matter of weeks. And that's really just down to, you have to call an electrician.
Yeah.
It's not really worth their time to come out right away. So it's only like about a $300 job to do. So they'll deprioritize it, and you're looking at 2 to 4 weeks of downtime.
Yeah, it's funny because like when we put that first video, people were saying like, well, my charger's easy to steal. And they're like, well, what you can do is like loop the cable through your tire and then plug it in.
Yeah.
It was some crazy solutions. And I know not every charger that's out there, because like some of them have like detachable cables.
Right, yeah.
It would still be easy to steal. But if you have the right one, this is like a perfect solution.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other really cool thing about this particular device is that it can oscillate the power level, so it makes it a far more dynamic power management system. So with the Pando Plus, you can actually, the cable here and the outlet are talking to each other, and then the cable is talking to the vehicle.
Right.
So they're all communicating, so they know how much power is needed, and then it sends it back to our Pando Pulse device, and so it's allocating power to where and when it's needed most, and dynamically balancing out the load across the entire property. So we're actually using power to its maximum efficiency.
And that's awesome, because we all know, like, you know, that have EVs, like I may need to add 40 miles of charge per night at most nights.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean I need to start charging at midnight.
Right.
And everybody in the entire complex needs to start charging at midnight. You can sort of balance it out, go slower, do different times.
Yeah, we can do this on like any kind of level you can imagine. So like in your scenario, if you know, oh, I need 40 miles of charge, you can actually just tell the device that, hey, I want 40 miles.
Yeah.
And it'll put it on there, and if everybody else is kind of doing that too, it'll balance out the load. Or if only you're doing it, it'll automatically work around everybody else and kind of get a better understanding of, okay, this person's going to be charging at this time. I can get Patrick in at like 2 a.m. because he's only going to need 40 amps, so it's going to be quick and easy. Stuff like that is all going to be happening within this local mesh network. And that's like the coolest bit, is that even if that fails again, the Pando Pulse continues to keep working. So we'll always have this adaptive load management system, like oscillating the power levels throughout the night, even without any internet access.
And that's something like, again, people go like, if everybody in that complex all of a sudden switches to EVs, like, how is the grid going to handle it? Well, it's sort of doing that type of thing of like, not everybody needs to charge right at midnight or
Absolutely.
10 p.m. or whatever. So
yeah, so like on that note, like the Pando Pulse will allow like the utilities to really like save themselves because they don't have to do any more service upgrades. They can just take what's available in the garage or in that property, and we'll use as much space as we need to get a maximum amount of charging.
Yeah, and you told me a little bit about this, and this is something that I've seen on an individual house basis, because like us, we have a 100 amp service. So our electrician like capped our charging circuit at 40 amps, but there are now devices that we could put in at home to where we could still have 50 amps, maybe even more, because it's going to manage our individual house and its load. But this is like what you're talking about, that does it for the whole complex.
Yeah, so it's kind of a rudimentary design, so you're going to have to use your imaginations a little bit. But imagine that this light bulb is the HVAC system. HVAC systems are really high power devices, but they're not running constantly day and night. However, in the National Electric Code, they have to actually be allocated as if they were. But now we have smart devices in which you can actually balance out the load. And so when Pando Pulse senses that HVAC system turns on, it'll send a signal out to the chargers to say, hey, you guys need to reduce your charging levels. The HVAC system just came on. So it knows how much power is available, how much power is being used, and then how much power can be used for charging. And then once that system kicks off, then we go back to full charging again.
That's
so
cool.
We're not going to blow any breakers. There's no like risk of like over voltage or over current. So it's really an advanced system.
And there's, you know, it's all to code UL that everybody has been like involved in like setting these standards, because for the longest time it was like just a simple calculation of like, this is how much power you could possibly use at max. So this is what your limitations are. But now the building code, UL, all of that is sort of like figuring out like, we have smart devices, it responds to within so many milliseconds, you're good to go. And that's exactly what this does.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why we built it, to really make sure that all of the grid is being protected as well as the building. And EV drivers can still know, like have that peace of mind that they're going to get enough charge by morning.
It's really amazing to sort of, you know, see that type of thinking, because it's sort of, again, like we have all of these little hurdles, and once you start checking them off using technology, using some creative engineering, or even using a simple device, it's like you start getting rid of all of them, and then hopefully we'll get to the point where there's, you know, people don't have any excuses. I am going to, like, I keep on wanting to rest my arm on this one.
Yeah.
I mean, we all love level 2, 240, but you guys also even have the flexibility. You have the 110 for certain situations.
Yeah, that's one that we just introduced. We've been getting some like here and there. Again, we're like checking off those edge cases for people. We're like, yeah, I actually just want a level 1 in my property. And there's a lot of utility programs that incentivize just level 1. And so in order to be able to make charging affordable for people, we decided to make this outlet. It's a really easy switch for us to just switch to a 520 socket. And then you have level 1 charging, which kind of matches fairly closely with daily driving habits. You're just going to have to charge more or less every day.
Right.
And with us, because of the power management and everything like that, we can actually put in chargers for everybody. Nobody's going to have to worry about paying for a huge utility upgrade, or oh, my panel might blow or whatever. That's all going to be handled by the Pando Plus system.
Yeah, and I imagine most people, if they're going to go with a future-proof system, they'll probably do the 240 level 2.
I would. You never know what people want to do, but this is probably your best device. The reason we went with the 240 volt and the NEMA 1450 overall is because it really is the only universal charger on the market, meaning that every single vehicle on the road today will be able to plug into this. And the really neat thing is that because every single vehicle on the road today can plug into that, we know that the NEMA standard is going to be around pretty much forever into the future. It's been around for 100 years already. Right. So any future iteration, if Elon comes up with a new connector type that goes in that's even better than, the NACS connector, you can still plug into a NEMA socket. And that's kind of why we wanted to build it like this. So it's 100% future proof. So no matter what happens into the future, whatever you've invested your money into is also going to work, for whatever changes may come.
That's super cool. And it looks, again, it's just looks like a normal 240, but there's actually a lot of intelligence besides the payment system. You mentioned it a little bit earlier, but it's in communication with the plug / the car. So we can dynamically adjust. So like for us, we have a 40 amp circuit, we're charging at 32 amps.
Yeah.
But it can adapt.
Yes, it can. So it'll be able, if you have the correct connector type, I'm not saying there's anything magical on the device that can connect to your car if there's not there. If you have the right cable, it'll be able to communicate with our box and understand how much power needs to be sent. So you can pull the power down to whatever level you need or raise it up to whatever you need.
Yeah, I know that we have some chargers that we reviewed. Some of them you got to set with the dip switch.
Right.
You can't really do anything with those, but then you have some that can communicate and say I need 16 amps, I need 32 amps. So.
Yeah, no, that's why we were working with Ampere to work with them on a lot of their cabling so that we know hey, this car needs this amount of energy, and so we'll have that communication capability.
That sounds awesome. Anything else that we're missing? I mean, like I said, I think you went down the checklist of everything that's a hurdle for.
There's one more thing.
Okay.
It's really, really simple, but we actually can operate these in complete offline mode. So it'd be good for a single family home or anything like that, where you just want to just have an outlet that's ultra safe. Because there's a lot of really cool safety features built into the outlet. So there's a bunch of sensors around it that are tracking temperature, voltage, current. It's monitoring any of that. If it goes out of the acceptable range, it'll turn off. That's all automatic. It doesn't need to be in our cloud. And because of that, we just have a manual mode, so you can just turn it on and off with a physical button on the side.
That's pretty cool.
Or you can use, your watch or whatever.
That's, and I know you guys have done some videos with Tom Malogny, so we'll link to those as well. But one of his big things is at home, go hardwired, safer, blah, 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 blah. And I agree, but that type of functionality makes me think yes, it's more expensive than a just regular NEMA 1450 outlet. But as I tell people, I was you're going to take a $50,000 car and your several $100,000 house with your priceless family. Do you want to spend a couple of extra $100 to make sure they're safe by buying a quality charger, a quality outlet? And I'm almost that would actually be a very big selling point to me, is having the outlet itself monitoring for safety.
And Tom did a great teardown of the device, and he even confirmed that this is a very high quality plug, and we have tested that for 15,000 cycles, so we know it's not going to break. And especially in a multi-family space, it's going to be plugged unplugged a lot. Yeah. At a single family home, it's going to be probably just plugged in once. But we still want to make sure that people have the peace of mind knowing that they have something that's ultra safe. So if anything does happen, it turns off, and you're saving however much on insurance, or God forbid your family's home.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that's the biggest thing, is it scares me to think how much power is going through an outlet. And we try to sort of illustrate that of most days we don't need a huge charge, but there are days where we will charge 50 kilowatt hours. That's about 5 days worth of electricity for us.
Yeah.
We don't you know, we don't use quite as much as some people, but like think about like 5 days worth of electricity flowing through not the whole house, but one outlet.
Right, and I think that's something that a lot of people don't really think about too much. And I've gotten asked this question, like, well, why can't I just go to Home Depot and just buy this socket? And I'm like, well, you can, but you need to make sure that that socket's rated for not just like a lot of plug cycles, but continuous load.
Yeah.
So if it just has 50 amps coming out of it, you know, for 7, 8, 10 hours, that's actually a lot. It can cause like a lot of temperature issues and start melting and all sorts of stuff. So people do need to be aware of like what they're putting in their homes. They can't just slap something on the wall and be like, this is fine.
Yeah. And again, it's important for us as homeowners, but I imagine it's, you know, again, amplified for multifamily housing, people that are putting in 92 of these. Yeah. It probably helps with them talking to their insurance companies like, hey, we just put in charging for 92 EVs, but guess what? It has all these safety features. So.
It makes the decisions a lot easier for them. And because they know that they have that peace of mind that, hey, if anything should happen, like Pando's devices are ultra safe.
Yeah. So, of course, I'm assuming like condo complexes, they reach out to you guys. You guys can help get them on the right path. But what if somebody is just out there watching the video and they're like, my condo is being very resistant. Like you can help them.
Yeah, there's like a few different paths that people should take. So if you're in a condo, the first thing you should do, just go to your HOA and the board and see like what their general thoughts are on EV charging. Sometimes they're not very amiable to that. If that should happen, the next step is to kind of get a group of your fellow neighbors and see like you guys collectivize and say, hey, like everybody here kind of wants this. And you can sort of force the board to make more of a decision. And that's again, like if they're concerned about safety, we've solved that. If they're concerned about price, we've solved that. You know, if they're concerned about, you know, scalability or equitability so that everybody can have one, we've solved that. So it's one of those things where it's like, there's not a lot of excuses anymore for an HOA board. And the same thing goes for like, if you live in an apartment and you really want to get EV charging there, maybe you really love your apartment and you're just like, I might move because I want EV charging. We can help you there too. Like just go to the property manager, get us in contact with them. We'll work with them. There's a lot of incentive money out there still for this stuff. And it's a huge value add to the property. So it's not as something like, oh, I'm going to spend all this money and I get nothing back. I'm like, no, you actually get quite a lot back, even if you don't get the incentive money. So you can get new residents, a lot of EV driving residents will move in specifically because you offer EV charging. And then on top of that, you know, you can monetize the amount of energy that goes through. And then there's one more thing that we're still working on, but it will be coming in 2026. And I mentioned this in Tom's video. These will have sub-metering, which means that the bills will actually go directly onto your utility bill. So you no longer have to go through a third party, Pando, to pay the costs. And the best thing there is that it removes the commercial rate. We get a lot of complaints from our customers saying, hey, your rates are outrageous, you're gouging us. And we're like, we don't control that. That's the commercial rate for the property, and the commercial rate and your residential rate are often very different. And it depends on usage, and the commercial rate, if you use a lot of energy, which EVs do, will put you into a higher tier. And then your tiered pricing goes up and up and up. And you as a resident don't see that because you're only paying your residential bill. With sub-metering, it goes on your residential bill. So now you're paying your residential rate and you're paying it directly to the utility, and you don't have to worry about the middleman anymore.
That's amazing. And I'm assuming like in areas like SDG&E, San Diego, where we have time of use, that would mean then we could potentially sign up one of their EV programs.
Yes.
Where it's like, as long as we use it between midnight and 6 a.m. with some variations, then we could get some discounts.
You get even lower pricing.
That's really cool. Yeah. So right now, commercial rates can be penalizing, we'll say. Yeah. But there is a future to...
It's just right around the bend. Yeah. We're working very hard. We're working with our partners at Silicon Valley Clean Energy to bring that to fruition. So it'll probably roll out here in the Bay Area first. And then as we go, we'll start to sort of slowly expand throughout the US.
So let's see a demo of what happens in the worst case scenario, like we are losing connectivity.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now, this is actually on our Wi-Fi here. And my phone is also on the same Wi-Fi network. And I'll show you guys that. Just so there's proof that I'm on the Wi-Fi. I'm gonna shut off, put it in airplane mode, shut off my Wi-Fi, and then I'm gonna turn this guy off. So The lights are not connected to the Wi-Fi, but I'll shut those off too. Just give you the visual representation that it's
so it's
off.
actually disconnected.
It's completely off the internet now, but you can see still green light. And now I will attempt to start a charge session.
That's awesome.
And now completely offline. It should sync up with the other chargers and it'll start its charging session.
And that would be like the same.
Yeah, it's all the same.
The mesh.
This one will turn on too. Oh, let me get my ID out. And so these guys are all talking to each other and understanding, okay, we got a little bit of energy to use here and there, but the system's online and working. So if you came home, the Wi-Fi's out, it's not a big deal. If your cell connections failed, it's not a big deal. You can just come in, can charge as normal.
That's perfect. Actually, it was just a few minutes ago, I was at a supercharger trying to activate and my phone wasn't connecting because I was trying to activate with my phone and it was like,
So yeah, that's the reason we built this system to be like that for that specific use case.
Perfect.
For like when people come in and like, I'm in a weird cell service range and I have to get into the cloud. It's not reasonable for people to always have internet connection. So that's why we built the Pando Canopy system, so that doesn't really matter whether there's Wi-Fi or not, you'll be able to charge.
Perfect. I love it. This is really cool. Well, I am very excited by these new additions. And like I've often cited you guys in the past year when people go like, yeah, it's great you can charge in your garage, but what about the rest of us? I'm like, I know it's a pain. There's companies out there and I point them to your website. I'll continue to do that and wish you guys the best of luck. And hopefully we'll get to check out some more installations very soon.
Absolutely. And if any of your listeners, if you do need EV charging, come to pandoelectric.com, reach out to us. We're more than happy to help you get EV charging on site.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. It was great.
Best of luck on version 2.
Yeah, we're ready.
Well, I'm even more excited now for charging in multifamily units than ever before. If you would have asked me 3 years ago, I didn't think I would be so excited by like just an outlet, right? But anyways, that's where we're at. I'm really excited to see this. Thankful that Pando Electric is out here developing solutions to help make that easier.
Yeah, and honestly, I think this is so daunting. The idea of trying to get charging into your apartment complex, wherever you're living. So I love that Pando is helping you guys out. I encourage you guys to reach out to them. And if you do, reach out to us and let us know how it's going, because we want to document that, because we shouldn't have to know how to do all this stuff, right? We shouldn't have to know how to negotiate all the money that they'll get back from this, that, or the other. So I love that there's a company, Pando, that's going to help you with that. And I want to hear how it goes. I want to hear. It was so awesome last year going to the install and seeing someone who lived at that building who was dedicated to making that happen. But I want to hear more from you guys.
Yeah, definitely reach out to us as well, because we'd love to document, especially if it's an area like in Southern California that's easy for us to visit, that we can sort of document this process. But yeah, please, give us your feedback on how it's going. If you have any creative solutions as well for getting this all done. But of course, we also want to thank you guys for watching this whole video. Thank you to our Patreon members, the Unbridled, Engage, and Whisper patrons. Your names are scrolling down here. Thank you to our YouTube members who have generously offered to donate a couple of bucks a month to us to help us like travel to the Bay Area to make videos like this. Thank you for all of our subscribers, all of that. There's a lot of people to thank. We do appreciate all of you.
Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for commenting, because it's you giving your input that alerts us that we need to cover stuff like this. We need to see this more. We love getting in touch with these companies. We love elevating your voices and your needs. So thank you so much for joining us for this video, which we checked out everything new that Pando Electric has to offer for the multifamily dwelling and all that good stuff. And just remember that whatever you drive and however you charge it, enjoy the ride. Bye.